Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to everyone who is coming back for more, and welcome to those who are tuning in for the first time. Igama lam ndinguZinathi Ganga, also known as Bonke Umfazi waseMangcosheni. On today's video, we are having a story time, and I am sharing my pregnancy journey and my birth story. So I will be giving you guys a bit of how everything happened. I will also be giving you guys a background of my pregnancy, how I found out, and leading to my birth story. So yeah, let us get on to it without wasting any time. I hope you guys will enjoy my story. I did share on Instagram after giving birth to Ubobo how my story stemmed from me being unable to conceive. Well, I was diagnosed by a few doctors around the Western Cape, well, Cape Town to be specific. I was told that I could not carry a baby full term, and I think that bothered me a lot. And I started snooping around, looking for doctors, finding out what was the matter, because I knew one day I could want babies, even though at the time I was not planning on having babies, but I just wanted to know so that I could be at peace, and also just to see if really there was a problem with me, or if the doctors were just making a mistake. But I'm not sure what mistake could that be for about three doctors, three gynecologists, and I went through all of that. I honestly think this was confirmed by also the abdominal pain that I was having for so long, and I didn't know what was causing the pain, because I never had to drink any painkillers or any pills for the pain to go away. But strangely, the pain would come. Whenever it comes, it was a shift, a very painful shift that I would have to endure and listen to until it passes. And this pain would happen randomly. It didn't matter where I was, it didn't matter what time it was. It was such pains that I was experiencing for that period. And I think that was before, yes, that was before I met my partner, my now husband. And I think when I met him, I had already been through so many opinions from different gynecologists, and I had to give him a heads up that, Mister, I might not have kids. So yeah, he knew that was the case, that I was having issues, and yeah, we didn't have a problem with that. We carried on with our lives, and he even asked me at some stage to stop with the pills that I was even using. I remember having to drink those pills, and it had to do with the closing of the womb, because they said there was an opening that was bringing in so much air inside the womb, and it was creating cracks. And I cannot verify any of this at this point, because it was before 2017, 2018. Yeah, it was around that time. So yeah guys, fast forward, I move this side, I moved to Gauteng, and we are pregnant in 2019, towards the end of the year of 2019, and I had no idea I was pregnant. I did not know. It was a shock because of how it happened. First of all, it was not planned, but we were not expecting to have kids. We knew it could happen if it does happen. So I just believed that I don't think Uthixo could give me such a load of pain. That was just my belief. I just always knew that umntwana nzaba naye regardless. And I always knew that I would be a great mom, but I just never knew when the time would come. So 2019 happened, and we went home for the holidays, and it was December, and I was goodizing for the first time. So it was my very first time visiting my in-laws, and I was already pregnant, and I did not know. The holidays continued. Yes, I was sick, very sick, but I thought it was me adjusting to being there as a new member. I didn't know what was really wrong with me. So I had those back pains, extreme back pains, and it got to a point that I would have to put up pillows. Well, my husband would put up pillows for me to just to sit, because I would not sleep at night. We came back January, Feb. We came back around January, and even then I was sick, like very, very sick. I had headaches. I had so many things, and I thought it was from the Eastern Cape, because it was always raining, and I thought all of that was coming out of Ingele. Yeah. But then what happened later on was the fact that my husband was noticing a few things from me, and I didn't notice anything. But I remember it was very hard when I slept on my stomach. It would be painful. I didn't know why. I think I also felt a bit funny, and I asked him, could it be? And if it was that, why was it happening that way and at that time? I had so many questions, and I remember I asked him when we were at the shops to please pass by Clicks and get a pregnancy test, and we got one. We came home. Yeah, he was waiting in the bedroom in excitement, because I think he somehow knew, because of the excitement that he had. He couldn't wait for me to try it. And I remember I had to pack away the stuff that we came from the shops with, or I wanted to start cooking. I cannot remember what my afternoon looked like, but I remember he wanted me to use the test, and I kept on telling him it is advisable that we use the test early in the morning, because they say the first urine is the best one to test. It was in the afternoon. We tested, and as I was looking, no man, this cannot be true. I didn't look. Tried me how, but yeah. Kwenzeka ke guys uba Mama Kabubu was expecting. I was pregnant. It was a shock. Like I could not even apprehend what was happening. I just took the test and I went into our bedroom. He was on top of the bed. I cannot remember what movements he was making, but he just couldn't wait. He grabbed the test, and yeah, he was happy, very excited. A very exciting moment for the both of us, because for me, I think I was in shock more than anything. I was like, is this really happening to me? Is this happening to me? Above it all, it was happening. And the downside about the timing of this whole thing was the fact that I was busy shopping around for a new medical aid for us, just the two of us, because it was still the two of us at the time. Actually, just after I got here, around July, August, we started talking about new changes that will be happening, since we were planning to stay together, and he knew that I had just cancelled my medical aid. He had to add me on his medical aid, but he was not happy with his medical aid, so we wanted to change it to the one that I was proposing at the time. So fine, the task was given. I was given the task to shop around for a good medical aid that will be fitting our needs going forward. I was just living my life. I didn't care what was happening. So I remember now we knew that we were pregnant, and I was already 3 months pregnant, and we were so scared. Like, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what could happen. So we needed to act very quickly so that I was safe. I was under good hands of a doctor or a nurse or whomever. But what we did not think about was the fact that me being added on his medical aid at that moment or at that point of my pregnancy was not a problem per se. It is a problem. It may be labeled as fraud, but some people, they do not disclose their pregnancy so early to their medical aid funds. But in our case, we did not know. We both did not know. What we did was we immediately requested paper for my details to be captured, and I could be added on the medical aid ASAP, because we thought it was wise for us to sort it out as soon as possible so that I can start seeing the doctor. And what we did not know was the fact that disclosing that you are already pregnant with medical aid is not the smartest move. And I was then rejected by medical aid, and that meant that I am not part of the medical aid for this baby, and I had to join our closest clinic, which was the best. From that moment came the delivery period. I was going through so many things. My pregnancy was not the best, not the easiest, but I think with the period under lockdown made things a lot easier for me, because I was always at home and I had enough support, both from my family. When I was visiting my family, the support that I was given was amazing. I also remember when I had to come back with my husband, at least he was working from home, so everything was always organized. He took care of me in a way that I wish I could have been taken care of. Came the period where I had to prepare for my delivery. I always knew that I wanted natural birth. I was exercising. We even got a ball for me. I was busy jumping up and down, preparing myself for my delivery, thinking it would be so easy. I prepared everything. I was so prepared. I was so ready. I was so excited. I was so excited for the process to end, because I was really tired. Yes, I was scared, but I wanted everything to pass. Like, I was hurtful. Like, I think I was way too big for my body, for my height. At one stage they said I was expecting twins, until I got into a scan. I was like, how? They were feeling 2 heartbeats. Guys, yeah. But overall, my experience with my pregnancy was not too bad, but indlophile kakhulu, ngikhulile. But right, I was always panicking. I think that goes for every mom. I think new or old, so panic when you are expecting umntwana, when you are carrying umntwana. It's not the easiest thing, and you do not know when you're safe and when you're not. So now I was now on 40 weeks, this is what happened. Like in the lunyi, where like I had contractions. I call my husband and I tell him something is up. He rushes home. When he gets home, we both get ready for leaving, because we thought we were supposed to leave anytime after I'm getting ready, like taking a bath, shower, or whatever. So we sorted out everything. Our bags were already packed. Well, my bags were already packed. Me and my baby's bags were already packed. So we were just waiting for the contractions to get to a certain point for us to start driving to the hospital. So we go to bed. They're still okay. Around 2 a.m., that's when I started feeling good. No, man. It seemed as if the contractions were getting worse by a minute. So I woke him up. I was like, I'm going to take a shower. I think we need to go. We drove around 4 a.m. We drove to the hospital. And the saddest part, no one could enter the hospital. You go in there with contractions with your own bags, and no one is supposed to go in to assist you until you get into whatever you're supposed to get into, whether it's a reception or the rooms that you were supposed to be allocated to. But I went in alone because he wasn't supposed to go in. I had to stand in the queue to register my name, everything. I'm still in pain. We waited 6 a.m. washaya, 7 a.m. washaya, 8 a.m. washaya. We were waiting for our beds to be allocated. Sana, Sapola, zapheli contractions, zikasisi. Mama Kabobo came in every pain, like sure this is the day. 8 a.m., 9 a.m., we've been waiting. I realized the pains that I felt. No, man. As I kept on testing myself. And were you guys lying to me? What was really happening throughout the night? This morning, what was happening when we got here? The nurses that were in that shift when I arrived, they saw that I came in. When I came in, I was still in pain. But they left, obviously. They had to change shifts and new nurses came. So they didn't believe that I had contractions when I got there. But there was no register, or there were no records of how I was feeling when I got there, because the only thing that we're doing was just registrations and just waiting for e-bed. So you guys, eventually I get there and I get into this room. We were about six mom-to-bees. Experience. I will never forget that day. I will never forget that day. We are six. Our beds are not far apart, such that I can hear anything that is happening with bed mom-to-be that is opposite me. Guys, if I tell you, like, you would see another mother giving birth in front of you, if you think that is a good thing to see, I was really scared. I was terrified when I had to see and look at those things. Such moments, I feel they belong to you as a mother. They belong to you. But it is so unfortunate that when you are using a private hospital, you have no choice but to share. The resources are shared, infrastructure is limited, so you also have to share a room. So we shared the room with those amazing women who gave birth in front of me, and the others were moving up and down, crying, calling out for help. But all I know is about 4 of them, they gave birth whilst I was sitting there, and my contractions were subduing. Okay, guys, it is December, so let me stop with this English. Subside. Anyways, my contractions were disappearing. Let me use that word. They were disappearing. That's it. So as my contractions were dying down, I noticed that no, man, I am not going to give birth today, even though I want to. Because those nurses keep on coming and asking me, how are you feeling now? What is happening now? And no one is giving me any attention. So this other one eventually came around 11 a.m. and she was like, I think you must call your husband to come and fetch you because there's nothing happening today. They tried looking, I was not even close. You know, guys, I was so disappointed because I thought it was the day for me. I went home. It was a Friday. I was on my 40th week. I went home. My husband came to fetch me. He was very disappointed because I even told him to leave because I was going to be admitted, so he would have to come back in the afternoon to bring me food or to bring me anything that I needed. Otherwise, they were not allowed to come and see us. So it was not just going to be a visitation hour, it was him bringing me stuff that I needed. So surprisingly, Mama Kabubu was not giving birth on that day. So Wabuita Kabubu to come and fetch me. We went home. What a terrible day. They did a few tests and they did a few checkups and they told me the baby was way too big and they cannot deliver umdwana in that hospital with the weight that my baby was currently at or currently on or currently having. So I was now transferred to another hospital. A hospital that I have been hearing a lot of stories about. Yep. Starting from the times when I would be visiting, people used to tell so many stories about that hospital, and I always knew that I would never set my foot there. Little did I know that when I deliver my baby, it will be that hospital. How amazing, how exciting. The traumatizing stories that these people have been telling. I was so scared. I told my husband about all the stories that these women were sharing. I was like, why, Lord? Why? Why would you do this to me? This is my first pregnancy. I am shit scared. I am already having so many complications. And now I'm being told that I cannot be admitted at a certain hospital. I need to go to a certain hospital because of the complications that I'm currently having. And they were not transferring me to go to that hospital on that same day. Instead, they were telling me to go home on that day and then to come back on Monday for a checkup at that hospital. That's if there were no contractions happening. So the whole weekend I was at home hoping something could happen. I could not let go of my ball. Like I was on my ball almost every hour. Almost every hour I was on my ball. Pumping, preparing myself, thinking, yeah, it's gonna happen. But the weekend ended. Monday came, the date that I was set to go to that hospital for, and I went there. No contractions, nothing. I was just my normal self. But on that day, I had all my bags in the car. I was like, I'm not going home. I knew that I was not going home. So I knew that I was not going home. I just knew that. And I was very cheeky. At that time, I was very cheeky. No one could tell me nothing. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I got there and they did test, the normal test. The whole day, I'm busy shifting from this door, from that door, from this door, from that door. Oh, what a tedious exercise. So I then get into the last door. This is when they decide whether I'm being admitted or not. And then this male doctor is doing his checkup, and he tells me that I am very far and I have no contractions, so they cannot take me because there are limited beds to accept anyone who has no complications. And I'm telling him that I am here because of my complications. My baby cannot grow any longer because there's no space. There's no space for her to grow any longer. So would you rather send me home in that condition or situation, or would you rather admit me? So I told the doctor that I'm not going anywhere. This was going to be my 41 weeks. It was going to be, yes, it was my 41 weeks because it was the Monday when I came back. It was 41 weeks. So I was like, I'm not going anywhere. So I told him to induce me. And at first, he did not agree. He had to meet with another doctor. And the feedback that I got was that yes, they are admitting me and they will be inducing me. Fortunately, I had brought everything with me. My bags were already in front of me as I was moving around the hospital. I had my bags with me. Guys, to say that no one can come in with you through all of that, it was the most hurtful experience for me, because you needed support. You needed all the support that you could get until the last hour, man. So having no one with you through all of that, it really meant that kunzima, and you just need to chin up. So I went in. My induction started. I was allocated a bed. It was me and another lady. We were two. And everything was smooth. Everything was just going smoothly, and we were doing fine until induction started getting to a point that is supposed to get into. We had good conversations before all of that. I got to meet someone that I could speak to. And for that night, that whole night, we were both induced and we were both not delivering our babies. They had to take it to theater, and she went there, wayo deliver umntwana, and I was left alone. It was the next morning. Inaction for me did not help. It did not help. And I remember there was now, I think, the manager of the hospital. I can't remember who that lady was. I think it was the manager of the hospital or something. But she came to do her rounds. Now this is Saturday morning. And she came to see me, and upon reading my records, she was like, why is this lady still here? If induction failed, why are you guys planning to do a second induction? And I think there was no one to answer, because the doctor that was attending to my case that night was already gone. So That lady was like, take this woman to theater. This lady must go for a C-section because there's nothing there's nothing different that is going to happen to her today. So this lady was supposed to be taken to for a C-section, was supposed to be taken in for a C-section even last night, after you guys realized that Ilantuka being induced did not help her. So what are you waiting for? And you already see from the records that there is already an issue with the movement of Umdwana. Umdwana can no longer move. So why are you suffocating the baby longer than you have already done? It was one comment that brought so much relief, because I really did not know why I was still sitting there. People were going to theater in and out, and I was still sitting there, and nothing was happening to me. I remember my session happened around 8 p.m. that Saturday. I was taken to theater around 8 p.m. at night, and that is when everything happened. They managed to deliver my baby successfully, and I was immediately sick. I was immediately sick, and they had to rush and insert e-drip because I think I was very cold. I was way too cold. Bafaka manzi with drip like warm water. I think that's when I regained consciousness as well, but I was really cold. I was just feeling cold. I was shaking. So yeah, without getting into too much details, my baby was delivered. Thank God. And we left the theater, and I do not know where I was taken, but I remember getting into this ward with so many people, so many beds, and I remember I could not move at that point. I could not do anything. I was just lying there, and Umdana was crying. Ubu was crying like ekhala, guys, ekhala ngathi angoma angaphili. That's how bad she was crying. So as this ubu, like they had to bring her to me for me to feed her. I did not know how to feed. Ayike saqala izithuko. Oh Lord, what an experience. I kept on asking this young lady who was around making rounds, just checking up on us, to assist me. She would help me, but Umdwana would miss sometimes. She would miss Lipumi Bele, and I would have to fix it back, and I couldn't. So I had to always rely on this young lady who was a nurse. And she did not get tired. She kept on assisting me, but the older ones that were working with her were really something else. They were not bothered. Whether you are a first-time mom, you do not know how to feed or breastfeed, they did not care. They just told you that it is your baby. Do what you are supposed to do. It was all up to you. Anyway, so yeah, what a tough experience. Breastfeeding was the worst nightmare for me. It was the worst. It was just the worst. Until Akagege. Guys. Akagege, the nipples are painful, they are bleeding because Umdana cannot. Oh guys, what an experience. But yeah, moving on to the overall experience of my birth process. I do not understand how they could let me go on second induction. If it happens, I never knew that it does happen, but I was just not comfortable with that. But anyways, I was saved from going through all of that again because it was really painful. The next morning, whilst we are now recovering from a epidural, so we are now, the numbness is now washing away. We are getting back to normal, especially like the ladies that came in around the same time as me. So whilst I'm lying there in the morning, I noticed that it was this lady that I was sharing a room with before we went to theater. And I was so excited to see her because I couldn't wait for us to meet after all of this, possibly the following day. And now I see a lot of nurses, including the guy that was doing our C-section. He also comes. They have papers or forms or whatever. I'm assuming it was forms. They come to her bed. Everyone is surrounding her and they're busy talking to her. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I overhear the questions that they're asking her. They're asking for details. It's like, hey, next of kin, who is available at her house, address, and all of that. Only to find out the lady lost her baby. And that is the lady that I was sharing the room with. Guys, as I'm not disturbed, I was really disturbed because we really connected. Yes, I was meeting like various people throughout my pregnancy and throughout the whole process, but her and I like really connected because everything happened for the longest time and we were together in that room. And we went through the worst and we kept on motivating each other about Uzaba, right? Be strong. Let's pray. Let's do this. And then I find out that she lost her baby. That was not the easiest thing for me. Tina, we moved to Ezinye ward. Guys, the movements, they were too much for me. I think that is one of the worst parts of my experience. The movements, moving from this ward to that one. You guys think you are sorted, your bags are there, your babies are sleeping nicely. Someone comes and then they tell you, pack your bags, you guys are moving to this ward because this ward is going to be used for this and that. And that really, really, really played with my emotions. Having to move. Kubanda kuthini phandle. Kubanda kuthini phandle. Sihamba nabantwana abancinci. Sisene-drip asikwazi nothini. Babafake kuzo nto ngathi zizikhafutina. Abantwana bethu akakhali ubobu in those kaftinas. Oh my God, those containers. Akakhali ubobu that time. I remember in one instance, I could not hold izinto zam. Like I had so many things in my hands. Idrip yaqhawuka kwatsitsa igazi. Oh guys, I remember coming back home with a throw full of blood because I had to use my throw over my hand to make sure that igazi ali splash around because that's what happened. Yeah, man. But otherwise, I was safe. We eventually got into a ward where we stayed for a while. At least we slept for that night. And ububu was a crier. Ukhale kakhulu mntanam, ukhale kakhulu. I would even put her to sleep and rush to the bathroom. Whilst I'm rushing to the bathroom, ndibuya sele ekhala osebanjwe ngomnye umuntu because akakwazi nje uthula. When we were served ukutya. What an experience. We were served ukutya. I had to eat the food because my food was supposed to come a bit later. And I was really hungry. So I had those meals kunzima uqeba, but we had to slambile, most of us. And eventually my husband came with the food and I cannot see him. Packages was drop off with securities, and then the securities will bring all our parcels, and then you go and your name is called out, and then you get your parcel. That is how you get your food. You do not see your family. The second day came, third day came. We were supposed to leave. Everyone was supposed to leave. And then chiki chiki, everyone is leaving but me. And it was me and this other lady. They said we cannot leave. In my case, they found a test. My test came back saying that there is an issue with me, so I need to remain behind, and then I need to see a doctor later on that day. And it was an emergency. I waited for the doctor. The doctor came, and then I was admitted. My baby was also admitted, and we were moved to a different ward. We were supposed to sleep together, me and this other lady, Nomdwana. But when we got there, we were settling nicely. We're making our beds. Abantwana bethu balele. And then someone comes to fetch her, and they're like, you need to come. And she comes back. When she comes to take her stuff, that her test came back saying she had COVID. She had COVID, and I was with this lady the whole time with Umdwan. How was that for an experience? So they took her away and she went to isolation, but they never tested me and Bobo to see if we were not in contact with the lady or infected in any way. Moving on, I slept alone with Bobo on that day, but someone joined me the next morning, and I was sick. I started being sick. I was very hot, and I didn't know why. I didn't understand why. And every time they tried to test me, my high blood pressure was always way too high. It was way too high, and apparently it came with my incision, and that was causing all the pressure in my body, and I was bleeding. I started bleeding like heavily. My incision started bleeding heavily. I don't know why. My incision started acting up in a very funny way. I didn't know what was happening because I thought I was healing. And then I started noticing strange substances around my incision. Apparently it was infection. I was infected, and guys, it was really bad. And when the new doctor now comes, they get shocked when they see my C-section. Why was my C-section done where it was done? It was not supposed to be done there. It was way too low. That's what they said. It was way too low for it to be there. How can it heal from how they did it? Guys, it was just an experience. I stayed there for 14 days. I stayed there for full 14 days, and it was the worst experience ever. One other experience that I can never forget was the next morning after my C-section, when we allocated the beds. Now there are ladies who are here to clean. The way they came in, bafika sebeshout this, we must get up, we must get up, we must get up. Akunzima uphakama kum. No one was laughing with me, and I thought it was a joke. No one was joking with me. I had to get up. Kunzima kunjalo, ipain injalo. I could not move my legs, but I had to move my legs and make sure that my baby is safe and make sure that we get to a ward that we're supposed to go to so that I can get a bed for my baby to sleep. Mind you, ababantwana bakahlambi ever since. I would always take it down lemanzi ndimosule ngayo. I think that is also one of the things that really disturbed me. Because I'm like, I really wanted to bath her, but I couldn't. Because angakwazi okokuqala, angakwazi umhlamba, and ndenza mhlamba phi. So now I'm still in hospital and I am not being discharged because they had to look after my incision, which was getting worse by day, by the way. And I still needed to take care of a baby, a newborn baby that I could not even feed. My nipples were bleeding. Mnganam was a breastfeeder. The milk, ephuma igazi. Mnganam is going to breastfeed from a nipple, ephuma ubisi, mixed with blood, because they could not allow me to use a bottle. I think what killed me the most was not seeing my husband through all of that. There was nothing he could do. He even attempted to get us moved to a hospital closer to our place so that he could visit me whenever he would be allowed to visit, because that hospital had no visitations. So yeah, I stayed there, and now things take a turn. I now see from the doctor's notes, I'm there to pip to see when am I going home and how am I doing, only to find out that this doctor wrote that I am suicidal. I am not fit to be a mother. I am a danger to my own daughter, and the baby needs to be taken away. Azange nihlanye kanje when they insinuated that I was being suicidal. I wanted to commit suicide and I was a danger to my baby. I could kill her. I don't know what they were thinking. Honestly, I do not know, but that is what was written on the book. I waited for my next checkup. They brought the pills. I was starting to be comfortable. I told myself, let me be comfortable, and I was not healing. That was the worst part, because the only thing that needed to happen was for me to heal so that these people could release me. I was not healing. I was getting worse by day. I was getting weak by day because the incision was affecting my body, my whole body. And my results were skyrocketing every time. High blood pressure was on another level. I tried drinking cold water so that I could calm down, doing all sorts of things. Even the nurses were now starting to warm up to me because I have been there for the longest time. People were coming in and leaving me there. Oh guys, it was really tough. It was really tough, and I was doing everything I was taught to take care of my incision, just that I was very unlucky. And the pains that I was in with my nipples, the pain that I was in my heart, not being able to give umdanam the care that I had planned or hoped to give her after birth. A lot was in my mind. And the next morning I was assigned a clinical psychologist. because kaloku sis is suicidal. Remember, the doctor assigns someone to come and see me, and I'm like, what is this about? And they tell me that they're noticing that I could be a danger to my baby and they need to take her away. They took the baby. I went in for consultation with this guy, and this guy spoke to me, and the guy spoke so much sense, and I could hear everything he was saying. He could understand me. He did not understand how was I being suicidal, because he said he was talking to a normal person, so he does not understand what was really going on with me. But guys, another day was added to my stay because they wanted to evaluate my situation, and they wanted to keep the baby away, as far away as possible from me. And that was the worst. Sleeping without my daughter, that was the worst. What got me to survive all those days was her. Her presence just made everything all right. I didn't mind where I was. I didn't mind what was going on. I just had her. I can't speak on the water that we were drinking. The water from the taps, the rust from the taps was coming out namanzi. When you look at the bottle whilst you are drinking, nanzi rust, it's swimming. And we're supposed to drink that, and I just lost it. I was like, you know what, I want to leave. Whether you guys like it or not, I want to leave. I told my husband I want to leave. Oh, he was so pissed. He came to the hospital, and the doctor or the nurses that were supposed to see him were not there, because he made an appointment that he is coming around this time, and no one was there when he came. I do not dispute the fact that I was not 100% okay, but the fact that I was in that hospital, in that state, under those conditions, it was so bizarre. But I had to stick it out, because they could not let us leave, and they could not let him communicate with anyone to escalate the issue. So he went home. It was dramatic. That day was too dramatic. I do not want to get into it, but it got too dramatic until the last hour, when I told my husband to go back home and wait for me to give him a call the following day. I was not released the next day. They said I am a danger to society. I was evaluated once again, and eventually they sent me home. My older sister was here. They took care of me. I healed, but did I heal emotionally? I do not think so. With all the questions around pregnancy, kids, having more kids, it's a very sensitive one for me, because it really gave me an experience that I never wish upon anyone. I don't wish to go through what I went through ever again. I hate the smell of hospitals. I hate anything that has to take me to a hospital or a clinic. So I have not healed. I went through so much, and some people have different experiences from myself. Some moms have the best experiences. Unfortunately, I was not that lucky, and I do not blame anyone for anything. I just thought I should share how my first time was. And how you can understand the next person when they say, I do not think I want to have kids again. Sometimes it's not because they are cheeky towards God's gift. They are ungrateful because they're able to conceive. Sometimes it could be the experiences that they had to go through. Maybe they're just not easy for them, and it is not something they would like to put their lives to go through again. Yes, I am repeating this again. Experiences will differ, times will differ. Yes, I may now be in a better space with better care. Unfortunately, mine was not the best one, and I do not know if my mind will ever change. But for now, I'm scared. But yet again, not all hospitals will give you such an experience. And our days also differ. And as people, we may be given such experiences for a reason. I'm so grateful that Umdanam was a miracle. I never knew I would be able to conceive, but I conceived a healthy baby. And she is now 3 years without any complications. And I'm so grateful for that. I can never take that lightly. But I thought, let me at least share with you guys how my experience went. I know a lot of people have beautiful stories to share, and I would really love to hear your stories. That is all about my pregnancy and birth story, and I hope you guys will enjoy my video. Please share your stories. How did it happen for you? How was it for you? How many kids would you like to have, and when would you like to have your own kids? And for me, I had mine at the age of 30. Was I 30 or 31? I think I was turning 31. Yeah, I think I was 30 or 31. I did not plan to have my kids at that age, but it happened the way it happened. And I'm super, super thankful for how it happened. And I am so happy that I get to share my story with you guys. I hope you will receive it well. And I will be seeing you guys on my next video. Please do not forget to like, to comment, and share. And do not forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed. Let us end this video here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Yantando Mandela. Bye.
No, I'm not a saint.